Hello and welcome to my channel to plan for. My name is Marguerite and on this channel I talk about analog planning, journaling and all the tools that make writing more enjoyable, especially fountain pens and inks. In my ink exploration series, I take a look at the different properties of fountain pen inks with a special focus on writing samples in fountain pens because that is what I use my inks mainly for. So first we will swatch the ink, see what properties it has, and then take a look at writing samples from 3 different pens on 3 different paper types. So this is the 3rd video in this series, and I thought I would use the first 3 videos to kind of establish a baseline for future ink comparisons. So in the first video we took a look at Waterman Serenity Blue, which is a very medium flow standard widely known ink. Then we checked out Vert Empire by Germain, which is a bit drier ink. And I thought the 3rd ink should be also a widely known ink, but on the wetter side. So today we will take a look at Shin-kai from Iroshizuku line from Pilot. So let's start by swatching the ink. This is Tomoe River paper 52 GSM. And then I also have this Waringol ink swatch book. And I have to say, during making the writing samples, I just remembered what an amazing ink this is. I haven't written with it in a while, and so it was really good to use it again and just see how it performs in different pens and papers. And yeah, it was very not positively surprised because I was not a new ink for me, but reminded what a great ink this is. And yeah, it just told me, oh, I want to use it again more often. But that's the problem. Well, problem. When you have so many inks, so many great inks, it's hard to give them all the same attention they deserve. So what I really enjoyed about this ink, first of all, is its amazing flow. It's such a fantastic ink. It worked in all my pens, was super wet, which I do like very much. I'm a big fan of wet inks. And yeah, it still was wet, but not too wet, so perfect. And it's also, I mean, blue is a difficult color in the sense of that it's hard to create a blue that's not boring. And that, for me personally, this is a blue that certainly is not boring. So we are taking a look today at Pilot. The Pilot ink called Shin-kai. And even in this ornament nib, it's just evident how much nicer the flow is than compared to my last ink, the Vert Empire, which is a drier ink. But it's always interesting to see how different inks can behave. And I think I'm just gonna put here with the broad nib. Iroshizuku. So it's the ink Shin-kai from by Pilot. I do have I think 6 inks from this line, and they all are amazing. Okay. Now let's see what this ink does when it comes to water resistance. Let's draw a few lines here. Let it dry and then put a few drops of water on it and see what remains after writing. So let's see if it's dry. Yes, it's dry. Okay, while we let the water do his evil work, let's have a look at comparison inks. So the only thing kind of comparable I could find in my ink stack is this snow globe from the Diamine Inkvent 2024. I mean, it has shimmer in it, but I think for color-wise, it's quite similar. It doesn't have the very nice red sheen Shin-kai has, but that's the closest I could find. So let's see. Yes, again, I think there is not much water resistance. I guess you could kind of recover your writing, but yeah, the water resistance is definitely on the very low level. Okay, now let's have a look at writing samples. For my writing samples, I always use the 3 same pens. So I have my Lamy Safari with a broad nib, then my TWSBI Eco with a medium nib, and the Pilot Kakuno with a fine nib. So we have 3 different brands and 3 different nib sizes. So to start, I have an Archer and Olive notebook with 160 GSM paper. It is certainly not made especially for fountain pens, but it's good enough definitely to use fountain pens on that paper. So here we have the writing sample with the Lamy Safari in the broad nib, then the TWSBI Eco with the medium nib, and the Pilot Kakuno with a fine nib. And as expected, as this is a very well-behaving ink, there were no issues of bleed through or feathering or anything like that on any paper. So the second paper or second notebook I have is a Rhodia notebook with 90 GSM Ivory paper. And here we have again at the start the writing sample with the Lamy Safari with the broad nib, then TWSBI Eco with the medium nib, and next the Pilot Kakuno with a fine nib. And finally I have my Goodinkpressions notebook, which has 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. And here again we have the writing sample with the Lamy Safari with the broad nib. TWSBI Eco with a medium nib, and the Pilot Kakuno with a fine nib. So pen-wise, my bias definitely goes to at least medium nibs. Usually a fine nib is not what I like, but this ink flows so nicely, is so performs so well that I even enjoyed writing with the fine nib. Yeah, and as I said, I fell back in love, or was reminded of my love of this ink, and I immediately inked it up then in my Pelikan 809, which I recently got, and I just wanted to see how it performs in this pen, as I had just written it dry. And yeah, and I can also tell you it's wonderful in this pen as well. Okay, so then that was it, my little ink exploration of the ink Shin-kai from Pilot, part of the Iroshizuku line. Here we have one last close-up on Tomoe River paper, and here is what it looks like on the Wearing Goal, or in the Wearing Goal swatch book. Thank you very much. I think in my next video I want to take a look at Erebus Crater from Colorverse, which was part of the Color Went 2025 and was one of the winner inks. And first I had my doubts about this ink, why it won, but I have recently played with it a little bit around, and yeah, I think it's a really interesting ink. So if you want to see more about that, stop by again. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good day. Bye.